better to say I'm suffering than to say this landscape is ugly. And that, to me, is sort of my personal manifesto. I mean, my earliest memories are in Copenhagen in jazz clubs, you know, and those are my favorite memories, so I really try to bring music and art and theater and all that into my children's lives. I was born in Copenhagen, Denmark. My mom's Danish, my dad's American. They met in a jazz club when my mom was 16. I think my dad was 20. And he saw her from across a smoky room and said, "That's the woman I'm going to marry," and then pursued her for 8 years. So, I don't know, I feel like that's a great romance and love story to be brought up with. So I grew up on and off between Copenhagen until probably kindergarten. Then, dun dun dun, we moved to Palo Alto. It's not my favorite place in the world. So I was in Palo Alto on and off, still visiting Denmark. Like, Danish is my first language, and I'm fluent-ish in it. I was very serious about theater and ballet. So I was commuting up to San Francisco Ballet until I was around 14, 15. And then I did a ton of children's theater, community theater, opera, and also then film and commercials. So I keep telling my daughter this story because it's one of her favorite stories. I remember, I think I was probably 4, and I dreamt that Dorothy's ruby slippers were in my closet, and I woke up and they weren't there, and it was, you know, this shattering disappointment. But my mom had these incredible dress-up boxes, just being in these other worlds and creating characters and playing dress-up. I started studying with this girl, Chelsea Bacon, who is sort of my hero. And we went on, along with Karen Elson and Rain Phoenix, Paul Cantillon, Angela McCluskey. Basically, we all went on to form the Citizens Band together. We used to say it was a political cabaret. Now I would say it's a political theater group. What we try to do is create this sort of fantastic Never Never Land, which exists somewhere between 1880 and 1943. I look for songs that are from, you know, the 1800s, early turn of last century, whatever, that sort of speak to the political situation going on today. We try to incorporate just like a smattering of circus arts into the Citizens Band. We have friends who are incredible contortionists who work with us a lot. I try to incorporate a lot of ballet, so I'll wear point shoes. I have point shoes down there. The hoop is called a lyra. It's a pretty standard aerial apparatus. I've been doing aerial dance, I guess you'd call it, for 7 years. I love vintage. I collect showgirl things and theater things, as you can see. But it's also important to me to have some sort of connection to what I'm wearing, and I feel so lucky to have so many friends that are designers, and designers who I think are incredible. This is a romper that my friend KK Karnacki made. Karen and I, of course, both bought them and rehearse in them all the time, because, you know, you can really get a kick in or whatever. Love Georgian jewelry is probably my favorite. I love anything paste. I don't like anything that looks too new or is too fancy. So even if I'm wearing something super sparkly, it has to have a layer of dirt or look like it's been driven over by a truck or something like that. And that's important for the Citizens Band. So I'm wearing Jane Mail. Right now. She gave me this romper because she kept saying, I just kept thinking flicker, 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 and then I was obsessing on it, and I was like, oh, the romper, the romper, the romper, and finally she's like, take the romper, you know. This first section is all my sort of like Victorian ethereal pieces. This is like, I don't know where I got this. I feel like Jesse and I were in Toronto and he was doing a commercial and I went into a vintage store and found this. I wear this nonstop. It's so important for me to be creative and to be able to work and to go out in my daily life and feel, you know, satisfied and fulfilled. And I feel like when I'm able to do that, I can come home and bring so much more. Everything is political. Everything we do, the way we dress, what we eat, is all influenced by what's going on socially and politically. So, you know, if hemlines drop, it's usually because the economy's in bad shape. I think as people, we so often sort of default to this really negative place of one-upmanship and putting things down and finding something wrong in everything. And to me, the real power is being so secure in yourself that you can recognize other people's vulnerability, but also their strengths, and celebrate that. I think there's no point in doing something if you don't feel passionately about it.